Man, what up? This big triple crown business. Let's get it, homie.
Yeah. I like this one right here. Y'all gon' yeah.
I think she likes me. And I like the way you fit it in that white tee. Do it, you excite me. I see you do it, but you cannot do it like me. We're getting peachy, yeah, I'm feeling so peachy.
Crown Spotlight in the building today with
Rose the Prophet.
Okay. Rose the Prophet, man. Look, for those who don't know about you, man, get a little small introduction of yourself.
Shoot. I was born in Georgia and raised in Los Angeles, well, Inglewood, California. Mostly, my mom brought me up. My grandma had a big part of my life. Whenever my mom wasn't, able to help out, my grandma was there. My dad, well, that's my dog in the background, sorry. My dad, he was with me, most of my life until I was 13 and he moved back to Cali. I started rapping at about 10.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did you start out rapping?
So my dad literally was like, yo, you could say whatever you want, as far as music.
So did your dad do music?
Well, my dad, he dabbled a little bit. Alright, so we was in the car, me and my dad was in the car one day, and he was like, yo, I hear you rapping along, but you want to say everything, go ahead, just freely go. And obviously I just, started rapping along to all the words to the songs, and then I was in class one day, just, felt like, jotting down some stuff once, you kind of just listen, hear some
right.
and stuff like that, and when I was 11, I went to a camp called Usher's New Look, and if you don't know what that is,
Cali?
it was in Atlanta. So Usher Raymond, he had a camp back in the day. This was 2007, where he basically brought kids from 12 to 18, and I was like on the brink of turning like 12 that year, so they just kind of let me slide, which was cool. And I went to that program. They kind of teach you the business side of the entertainment industry. So like at 11, I was learning how to brand myself as a person and an artist without even knowing necessarily. Well, really, it was more of an athlete because I was like really focused on basketball and stuff like that.
Right.
But they forced us to go into every different. It was a video production, music, dance, sports, and acting.
So how long was this camp?
2 weeks. It was 2 years. It was at Georgia Tech. Well, more than that, but for me it was 2 years at Georgia Tech, and that was 2 years at Emory. And then the year after, it was more like a conference, and then they started making it more like a conference type ordeal instead of like a camp. And but regardless, I did that for several years, and they had this talent show and stuff like that every night where it was called Expressions, and you literally just you can do a monologue, you can show a different craft, you can do whatever you wanted to do, and you just show it out in front of everybody, basically. Like,
so you was able to do the talent show every night
if you wanted to.
Oh,
during the 2 weeks time span. And obviously most people wouldn't start doing it until day 3 or 4. I mean, you'd have the people that were there the year before that go ahead and get out the right for everybody. But regardless, I did a song with one of my homies, and we all had camp names or code names, and mine was L.A. Kid, and because they used to call my dad L.A., so I was like, hey, I'm just do that, and it was my homie Mickey Mouse, and yeah, we made a track called Girl or whatever, dude, and everybody would go crazy and stuff like that, and then we all had to do a closing number or whatever, and so I've always been performing and stuff in front of people Usher would come and all that stuff. And like the World Leadership Conference, the first year they had that, like they had us go and attend and like VIP backstage, all that stuff, and it was you know, like we got to see, you know, Bill Clinton and
So you been in front of major crowd.
yeah, that was when I was like, and then when I was 13, I did a performance with Dougie Fresh. It was pretty dope. So
That's dope. That's retro.
it was hilarious. So me, my homie Mickey D, my homie 8 Mile, and Lil JJ, we was on stage. We made a track like literally that day. We was like, we gonna do it at Expressions. Little did we know Expressions was in front of like this like conference of like $5,000, and we were just like, oh, alright, cool. Or it was like, yeah, $2,000 to $5,000, something like that, whatever. You know, I'm 13, I don't really know the numbers, but regardless, we go on stage, they go to play our track, music not working. We like, yo, what the heck? And now Dougie Fresh is hosting the event too. So like, they're like, oh well, shoot, what we gonna do? And one of the homies was, hey, all right, start clap, you know, start clap.
Oh.
And next thing you know, homie was rapping, and all you hear is, and we're all like, what was that? We're like, oh, you know, so. And then, you know, my verse came, and I literally did half of my verse like how it was intended, and then the other half was freestyle, like totally can't even remember. I mean, it's a video of it on Facebook somewhere, but I think I have it saved. But
You think? Or
no, I'm pretty sure I have it saved. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know. My Facebook got hacked a while ago, so it might have like, you know. But shoot. Then after that, it was more of like, oh, okay, well, I guess, you know, I learned how to like make a verse and like kind of, you know, how to do those and stuff like that, right? And it wasn't really till I got into college where I had a roommate. It didn't work out. Then the new roommate that I had, our schedule was just off, the first one. And like I'd come in when he'd be trying to sleep, he'd come in, I'd sleep. Yeah. He was a music major, I was a cheerleader and stuff. You know, it's just yeah. And so the next dude was still a music major, but he wasn't like a Mozart type of music major. He was more of like a Dr. Dre type of music. So he was like, yo, I make beats. And I was like, oh, I rap a little bit, you know, because at that time I wasn't recording or anything like that.
Right.
And I was still 17. Like when I started college, I was 17, turned 18 my first year. But that one thing led to another. I like made something to one of his things. One of my homies on the team did spoken word. Homie James, he was like, yo, let's lay this down. I had a MacBook at the time. Went on GarageBand. I was like, all right, cool. And laid it down. And from then we was like, all right, this is pretty fun. Let's keep doing this, right? And that's when people were like, oh yeah, no, I should keep, actually, doing this and stuff like that. And then for a while I started to think about, all right, well shoot, I don't want to be LA kid the rest of my life, and I don't want to be Cam, you know what I'm saying? I want to have something different. And Rosemont is my last name, so that's where the Rose comes in. And the Prophet, it was more like, so it was when I was on a moving trip, and I talk a lot. I was on a moving trip in Indiana, and it was with my old coach and some of my people on the team, and I literally was just sitting there like thinking, like, man, what name should I do? Like, cause this was about.
How old were you then?
It was my junior year of college.
Okay.
So I was about 19, and so it was over the summer too. We was moving on the trucks and stuff. I'm just like, dang, like, all right. And I'm like, man, God, give me a sign. What should my name be, right? And I was like, and I started looking up stuff, and I was like, well, follower of Christ. I don't want to say disciple because that'd be some weird stuff, Rose the disciple. I mean, it's not necessarily like, but I don't want it to necessarily be like
extra biblical.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and the definition of a prophet is a proclaimer of Christ, proclaimer of God.
So you was familiar with Rose the disciple at first?
Yeah, like Rose the disciple.
Oh no, that would have been kind of catchy though.
In hindsight maybe, but like I felt like people would have been like, oh, like you're for real on the Christian stuff on that point. You know what I'm saying? Like the prophet kind of was like, it was more of it was closer to king or like
Gotcha.
without being a king, because in the sense of the way, you know, in the Bible, kings weren't necessarily respected
Right.
because they always used to. It's
Because
just a
of the
negative
status,
connotation, yeah. And I didn't want to be a prince or nothing like that. They could be, oh, well, you know, he's trying to be the king, and you know, so I was like, well, shoot, prophet.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie though, that Prince could have ruled, man. You got that Aladdin look to you.
Look, I've heard that. I've heard Uzi, Lil Uzi. I heard that too. I've heard I sound like Chris Rock,
No.
or like a Kevin Hart Chris Rock mix. I've heard that too. I've heard a lot of stuff. It's just yeah,
Well, I mean, it
people
seems
come
like
up
it's
with
all
weird,
good though.
Oh yeah. It's all positive. All successful black men in their industries, but yeah.
So speaking of, you know, other successes, man, had quite a run in the movie field too.
Yeah.
Film.
So yeah.
How did that come about?
So, like I said, well, I coach cheerleading right now, but I used to cheerlead in high school, well, my senior year at least, because my mom and my stepdad were trying to figure out, all right, well, he needs to get to college somehow, because you're either going to work or you're going to go to college. And I was like, basketball. And my stepdad thought it was pretty competitive, so whatever. And one of my friends at the time, he was doing cheerleading, still tumbling and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, I want to tumble. And you're around a bunch of girls, like, you know, high school.
So were you already flipping before then though?
Well, I mean, kind of, because we danced and stuff like that. So, you know, obviously.
So you wasn't just like the level that I see on your page, that wasn't until your senior year in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. And yeah, went to the gym a couple weeks, and I actually was taught by a guy I coach with now, but Sam. But anyway, long story. I get to 2019. Yeah, 2019. I was on a open team, which is a team where 18 and up, you know, an adult team.
The cheer team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where you compete at, you know, different competitions around, you know, the country, and then ultimately you try to qualify for Worlds, and then you go to Florida, and there'll be teams from like Germany and whatnot coming.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was on a team, and the coach reached out to me a couple months after we got done with our season. I was like, yo, the casting director from so-and-so hit me up, asked me if I knew anybody who knew how to tumble, any black males that knew how to tumble between the age of 8 and what, like 25 or 27 or something, like something like
That's
that.
around that range. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I thought about you. All right, cool. So I hit up the casting director, and I was like, all right, come for the the audition. Went in for the audition the next day. It was me and 10 other guys, and 2 of us got picked. Or me and 11 other guys, and 2 of us got picked. And it was the next day where they called us and stuff like that. And when we went to set to practice, or rehearse, I don't want to say that, to rehearse, I've come to find out the guy that I was doing the tumbling and acrobatics with, he's Kevin Hart's stunt double, like in the
Wow.
like the movie
The cop movie?
yeah, that movie. What is it right now?
I'm having a blank moment too, and I know I
And then
watched
this
it
one
a
with
few times.
Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Ride Along.
Ride Along, yeah, because they had Ride Along
Yes,
too also.
yes, yeah. And but yeah, no. So it was pretty cool to be working with him, like side by side, and he actually was like telling me, yo, like with the contracts, like make sure you do this, make sure you do that, and in order to get more roles, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. So like it was cool that he didn't like, rookie, this your first.
Yeah.
Everybody was more so amazed at the fact, oh wait, this your first movie and you in Coming to America too. Shoot, all right then, you know. And,
man, that was dope.
Yeah, so I got to speak with Eddie briefly. I was in the scene with Eddie Murphy was in the scene, and we kind of met in passing. But Arsenio, I woke up. I was actually taking a nap on set real quick, and I woke up, and I woke up and I was like this because I heard like an older person talking because he was literally in character the whole time. So I heard an older person talking. I'm like, what is going on? And he's sitting right, like basically where you are. And I was like kind of head under a chair a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because it was against the wall. And he was getting in wardrobe and stuff like that. And he was just sitting there.
So were you starstruck?
I mean, at first I didn't know who it was. I didn't know what was happening. You know what I'm saying? He was already like, you know, in makeup and all that stuff. So I'm like, yo, they didn't tell us anything about like, you know, what was going, you know. So I'm just like, all right, cool. And he was like, oh, you woke up, and I was like, oh, yeah, what's up? And I was like, yeah. He was like, you do this often? I was like, no, this is my first film. Like he was like, have you like been to movies often? And he was like, yeah, it's been a long day, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, wait, it's your first film? I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, my first film was a Seymour Butts film. And I was like, oh my God. And everybody just started dying, laughing around, you know what I'm saying? And then they needed us for something. But yeah.
You got some lifetime
Wesley Snipes, we was in the scene with, like, we were walking behind him to go into the doors and everything. Right. Tiana Taylor, met her. Yeah.
So did what's the longest y'all took to shoot a scene?
Oh no, we'd be there all day. I mean, to shoot
like a certain scene. You know how certain scenes are easier, but when you're dealing with a lot of people, I mean, and everybody don't get in sync like they're supposed to, it's really to take a little longer.
It's really funny. So you know how they say like time flies when you're doing something you enjoy. Well, it's you don't have your phone. You don't have it, so you're like you be looking at your watch one time. All right, it's 1 o'clock. Next thing you know, oh shit, it's 7. Oh, okay then. All right, cool. But like maybe 2 hours or so, 2-3 hours. But like we'd be on set like 12. Oh yeah, 12. 14 hours. Just like, hey, we might need you guys. And it's like, all right, cool. It wasn't. They made sure we were taking care of it.
So, how many roles have you done so far? Or how many films, how many sets have you been on?
So it was that, and then I did a small role in a series that was a prequel to another series for.
Got you thinking now.
Yeah. It was actually like a year and a half ago too.
I see they're gonna watch this interview. They're gonna be like, "Oh, so you remember coming to the America? But you didn't remember my film."
No. See, here's the thing. We were unsure on whether or not he was even going to be in production. Oh. And so I don't necessarily want to give away too much. So I'm like trying to think of like what I can give away.
You're fine. And then sometimes when they have us on set, like they'll give you one title, but that don't be the, the original title. So
yeah. Okay. I mean, it's a Fuentes production. But yeah.
So what you like more?
I was a cheer coach, and I was actually in a role of a cheer coach though.
Right. So you was in your natural environment.
Yeah. That was pretty easy.
Which you like acting more or doing music more?
Oh, I mean, music is like my genuine passion. I mean, acting is something I could do on the side. I mean, it's nothing too like pressing on me.
So man, I've seen Rose the Prophet everywhere, but I also see a lot of Kobe. So Kobe, I would take it Kobe your number one player, right? Your favorite player?
Well, yeah, he's my favorite player. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like number one as far as like the greatest basketball.
So who would you put number one as the greatest?
Based off the stats and everything, obviously I had to go LeBron's greatest scorer of all time, and would just stay with Kobe just because that's my heart. I mean, Kevin Durant is also a great scorer, as far as like all around scorer. Mike, of course, had like the greatest career.
Number 4 now.
Well, no. I was saying I put him at 4. I was saying he had a great career. They're number ones in their own cacategories. I can't.
You gotta clarify that.
Yeah. I can't. I don't feel like I can necessarily, because of course I'm gonna say Kobe because I'm biased.
Right.
Growing up in L.A. and all that stuff, and just what he did for the city. But also like when I was playing basketball, coming up, you obviously emulate somebody. And it was Kobe and Allen Iverson because I was a point guard.
Got handles.
I was a point guard, but also like I like to drive school.
You gonna compare yourself to AI now? You gotta have.
Oh no! If my homie was still in here, man, he'd tell you I'm.
So it's safe to say you can play.
I myself.
You can play a like Mike role.
Yeah, easy. Oh yeah, easy.
Okay.
Easy.
So man, speaking of Kobe, like what type of impact did losing him, and of course you know the others involved, have on you?
Shoot. It was crazy. The day I the day it happened. So me and Quan, we were chilling at my old house, and he was playing Madden, and my thing on Xbox, because I made it a while ago, was L.A. Kid 2007, because that was like my email. So
Right.
you know, he's playing somebody, blowing him out, and we're thinking he sends, oh, Kobe just died. We're like, bro,
Good plan.
right. You probably see the handle. You get getting
Yeah,
blown
yeah.
out. You know what I'm saying? Probably out of anger. And he was playing. I was like, look, let me just look real quick. And I was like, TMZ. Oh, okay, nah, it's cool. And then the minute go by, I'm like, let me check again. And
Nobody credits Tim.
I said, let me check again. I saw Washington Post. I was like, Washington Post, New York Times. Oh nah,
All right,
oh
it's
nah,
credible
oh nah,
now.
right. I was like, oh nah, hey, and I started bawling. I ain't gonna lie, I did cry, cause I mean, just even after, like, just okay, he gave everything to the game. He gave
Right.
everything to his craft. It wasn't even after he passed, he gave everything to being whatever he was, whatever he wanted to do. If he wanted to be a coach, cool. If he wanted to be a father, cool. If he wanted to be
Right.
a mentor, cool. He wasn't one of those people after he retired to be like, all right, I'm gonna seclude myself and be away from basketball, period. Anytime somebody wanted to reach out, they can reach out to
He's known for
you know
giving,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Right. And so it was just so it just, he gave everything from beginning to end, regardless of, if he had the best team in the league or if he had the worst team in the league, he still gave it his all. And playing basketball at the time, that was like a great thing to watch. And then of course it was something I implemented going into college and stuff. And like when I watched his last game, when he dropped that 60, I was just like, man, like that right there, that just
Kobe was definitely
to the end.
an example of what we all should strive for. Because they say, I know when I leave here, I want to leave it empty.
Right.
So he did that. Man, whew, that's kind of deep. I want to double back on something we talked about previously, like how you actually got into tumbling, cheerleading. So, and you say you was like in high school, and your parents actually, recommended it. They were supportive.
No. So it was funny. My little sister, she was 6 at the time, because I was 16. Over the summer, we were like going around looking at all-star jumps and everything in general, and like there was people trying to get my mom to get me into it at the time anyway.
For real?
But just he's got it. How old is he? Oh, he looks pretty, looks pretty athletic. Oh, whatever.
Right.
And then she'd always be like, no. And then I brought it up one day because my stepdad was like, you can't play basketball. I don't care what sport you do, you can't play basketball. I was like, well, shoot, I'm already learning how to tumble from a friend.
Right.
And I want to learn more. And the only way for me to learn more about professional, if I'm going to keep doing this, keep tumbling and stuff like that, I don't want to break my neck, obviously. I mean, I was like fearless, but rational, if that makes sense.
Common sense.
Right. And so my mom was like, no. Stepdad was like, heck no. Cool. So I go back to my room. I go on Google, look up like how cheerleading started, all like notable male cheerleaders and throughout history. It's a lot of them that would surprise you. Can't remember right now because this was back way when. Cheerleading was actually invented by a male, and it didn't get taken over by women. It was in what? I want to get it right. I believe it was like 1948, but regardless, around World War II.
Oh, you going all the way back?
Yeah, around World War II. Yeah, around World War II is when women took it over.
And the reason I brought that
that's
up,
because all the men went to war.
I brought that up simply because of that reason. Because I thought you said like your parents suggested it, and I was actually about to say, that's a new one, because it's like a lot of parents, of course, in the black community, they're against males
it took a
being
lot
in
of convincing.
cheerleading.
It took a lot of convincing, and then once I did all that, and then I think the last thing I looked up was like colleges that give out scholarships
Right.
for male cheerleading. So went in the room with all that, and they were still like, no, get off my face, don't ever say anything about it again, or else you can't do any sport. Cool. Wrestling. Yeah. All right. Cool. Whatever. So I was already doing track, about to do wrestling now because of the conversation. Then about 30 minutes later, my mom comes back in the room. Or no, stepdad comes in the room, you can do cheerleading. And then walks out. And that's kind of...
Yeah, it is. Yeah, man. I had to touch on it because it's like, well, I think that's what
my dad said whatever I wanted to.
We short ourselves a lot, like when we start talking about Olympics and stuff like that. People don't think of that part of it, but it's just like, man, it's frowned upon so much within our community, and it's crazy. And I'm glad, like, man, you was able to go after your dreams and you still pushing because you dope at it. Like, for real. I thought this is something you had been doing since you was young. I was looking at you flipping. I'm like, man, I always wanted to flip like that.
I was playing basketball. I was playing basketball for the longest, man. For the longest.
Yeah, so man, speaking on the COVID topic, you know, he left it all here. One thing I always like to ask all of my guests, you know, we all have an expiration date on this side of the world. When you leave this earth, what do you want your legacy to be?
Honestly, probably just life. Like, and when I say life, I mean wanting to spread life to other people. If that makes sense. Like, I don't do this just to be, you know, oh yeah, this is me, I'm gonna make my music and just keep it to myself. I obviously try to spread it, you know, out.
Right.
And like, I make my designs, yeah, but I also keep it open to if you're an artist and you need somebody to help you your merch, come on. And I'm not about to bust you over the head with prices or anything like that. I'm gonna make what I need to make in order to create and keep creating, and make sure that you make whatever you need to make based off of that. You
So
know
you're
what I'm
living up to your name,
So,
basically.
I'm trying to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want people to be able to spread their word, and I'm also spreading my stuff. You know what I'm saying? In the process, like, if I don't end up selling any of my stuff, that's cool. As long as I was selling other people's stuff in the process, that's all great. You know what I'm saying?
So, also, you know, the floor is yours. Tell everyone how they can find it. Projects you're working on, any upcoming shows, social media, shout outs, whatever you want to do, the floor is all yours.
www.rosetheprofetstudios.com. ROSETHEPROFETSTUDIOS.com. That was a mouthful. But yeah, RoseTheProphetStudios.com, or we have an Instagram page now for the brand, Rose the Prophet Studios, or see Rose the Prophet if you want my personal. Twitter is the same. You can find me on Facebook, Rose the Prophet. Really, if you go on the website, you'll find all of it. But yeah, all the my projects are on SoundCloud for right now. I still need to get all my licensing right in order for me to put it on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, we out.
Girl, your booty so peachy, peachy, peachy. Oh, you from Georgia, so you peachy, peachy, peachy. Yeah, oh, don't even understand what I'm trying to do, but I know that I'm trying to get to you. So I gotta step up, gotta move close. Girl, you wanna dance, better dance close. Oh, I see you do it. I see you wanna sing, let's have a duet. All you gotta do is get to moving. If you're choosing, you're doing what you're doing. Oh yeah, I wanna see what you work like. Yeah, I wanna see